Hello, everyone. It's been a while, but this is Pucks and Brews. I am your host, Michael Shade Sparacino, alongside, as always, Liam, the Shell Master Godimer. Brendan kicked my ass in hits, by the way, last week. So just because I brought Shell Master up, my goalie couldn't stop a goddamn thing. But this is Pucks and Brews, the podcast. And Liam, how are you?
I'm doing well, Shades. Good to be back with you and talk some puck.
Yes, and as always, we like to say thank you to our not sponsored Dunkin' Donuts cold brew.
Looks like a different cup. Did they change the branding at all? Or
Not that
no?
I know
Okay,
of.
it's
No.
same cup. Maybe a little bit darker of a cold brew this morning.
I don't know. It looks the same to me.
Hmm.
I don't know. I would love to get into the whole, you know, physics of the machine or whatever the word is that goes with drinks to see like if there's a change in color from like the
Right.
start of the batch to the end of the batch. But I don't know. That would be cool little mini project to do on my free time. But in the say just just because I got to take the sip here.
Let us know. Is it up to par?
It is up to par, and I desperately needed that because it is 11:09 a.m. I've been up since 9 and I have not had my coffee yet, so that is wonderful.
You got it now.
I
See ya.
got it now. Yeah, unfortunately, this episode, I don't have a Game Boy game, fake or real game that we could play. I got nothing. I mean, my birthday's next week, but that's a next week problem, which
Oh, there you go.
I think we're gonna record again because it's been a while. We got to get back, or I got to get back on my shit, really.
Yeah, we gotta get back consistently recording again, but it's good that we're back today. So
Hey, on the bright side, I got no shave November going pretty good here.
okay, there you go. We're less than what, halfway in here? Just about halfway in. So
Yeah, the end of the month can't come quick enough. I need to shave this.
next episode, it's gonna be
No, next episode it'll just be worse.
it'll just be worse. Yeah.
It will just be so much worse. Kind of like watching the Jets,
Mm. The New York Jets, not the Winnipeg Jets.
the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
That
been
I
fun watching the Winnipeg Jets.
here okay, because it's been a while. I got to go on a mini Jets rant. I was watching the Thursday night game against the Texans. I was with Brendan at his house. We were watching in his basement. I'm not even kidding you. We're maybe 6 minutes into the game. I full on lose my composure and am screaming at the TV.
Mm.
It
Yeah,
got that bad.
it's been a frustrating season, but I think the Jets just need to get younger at this point.
Just for context, I'm usually the person of, what was that play call? Or come on, catch the ball. I full on am yelling at the TV, not caring what's going on around me. Like I had a high school rage moment.
You reached another level,
I
seems
did.
like on Thursday.
It was yeah, at least they won that game.
At least they won. There you go. Find the silver lining.
Yeah, then they found, a way to get murdered against the Cardinals. But yeah, let's get into Pucks and Brews before I go on another rant, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, here we go. So we did bring up two versions of the Jets, the New York Jets and the Winnipeg Jets. And well, one team is doing absolutely dog shit awful, and that's putting it nicely. And the other team is off to the best start in NHL history, and that's the Winnipeg Jets. And I gotta say, I'm happy for them because this is a team I've liked for years now. Kyle Connor is on a tear right now. That's my boy, especially in fantasy. I'm sad I didn't get a chance to pick him this year, but that's just a team, well-oiled machine under a new coach. Scott Arniel, former assistant Rangers coach, I believe under Elaine Vigneault, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I believe so as well.
And dude, they're killing it right now. And it's awesome to see.
I mean, 15 regulation wins in 17 game shades, and they really came into Madison Square Garden and they manhandled the Rangers. I don't know if you're able to catch that game, but
That was one of the few games I was able to catch because, of course,
yeah, quite a few defensive breakdowns on the Rangers side, and I think that's a testament to the Jets' offense, their speed, and the way they're able to break down teams in the offensive zone. And shut them down defensively in the neutral zone as well. And then when you do get your chances, right, as the opposition, you're facing Connor Hellebuck, who just might go and win the Vezina this year. So it's been a great start, like you said, a historic run when you look in terms of NHL history. I mean, they've got 36 points. They're a plus 36 goal differential. I love that stat, goal differential. They're plus 16 on the next closest team right behind them to start the season. So look, they're a juggernaut right now. But the answer for the Winnipeg Jets has never been what can they do in the regular season. It's all been what can they do in the postseason. And in the last few years, they've had subpar results. So this is great. They'll make the playoffs if they continue the strong stretch of play. But once you get to the postseason, it's time to turn it up a notch. And I still haven't seen that out of the Jets, and I'm going to be very interested to see come April, how they do in that department.
Yeah, a few defensive breakdowns by the Rangers. That game is putting it nicely. But no, that was a team where that was kind of a wake-up call for the Rangers of like, okay, they need to get their stuff together. But that's what happens when you go up against a good team during a very hot streak.
And Shades, it's a team that will make you pay for your mistakes, right? Every
Yep.
single team on every single night, they may not make you pay for those little lapses in the defensive zone, not getting able to get the puck out of the zone here or there. But the Jets, with the way that they're gunning right now, they're going to make you pay on every mistake that you make. And if you saw that goal on Shesterkin, that little tap across there, what's that? How do you get that deep into the zone, 2-on-0? So that's a concern. The only silver lining for the Rangers right now, and I know we'll get to them. It's early in the year. That's so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the year we made the cup final, we started off that year horribly. So
We did started on the road in West Coast.
yeah, the
It's
four
almost
goal
heard
game
of.
by
Four
Hurdle.
goal
Yeah.
game. Yeah, between the
Retired Marty
legs.
Biron.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, that is definitely a silver lining.
That was
But
a fun season though. That was a
that
fun.
was that was. And the Winnipeg Jets are a fun team to watch right now. That was not fun of a game to sit through as a Rangers fan, but it's still
Yeah.
a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they got a number one center, right? And Mark Scheifele. Neil Pionk, as much as it pains me to say it, former Ranger, dealt over to the Jets. He's been great. He's been their number one guy for several years now. And
Yeah.
like I said, Hellebuck is Hellebuck. He needs no explanation.
Yeah,
So
I feel like Hellebuck is one of the rare goalies that consistently stays in Vezina conversation year after year.
mhm.
Also, because if you look at a lot of guys, like they'll win the Vezina and then they'll have a pretty big drop off the next season. Then they bounce back the season, and it's kind of just like this up and down roller coaster. I feel like Hellebuck's been one of the more consistent goalies in the league from that aspect.
He has. I totally agree.
And he looked like it against the Rangers. Okay, let me just stop referencing that game now. So, from a team that is on the NHL's best start in history, we go to a team that started the season either 0-4 or 0-5 that I had massive expectations put on this team going into the season. You were kind of iffy, and your famous phrase was, I'm scared because of the contracts that they handed out. That's still one of my favorite episodes. The Nashville Predators are kind of a train wreck right now.
Hate to say I told you so, but I
Kind
told
of
you so.
did.
Told you also. And got to mince my
Toot your
words
own
here,
horn a
right?
little
A
bit.
little bit because I do work for the Predators. I am in the Predators organization. But yeah, it just comes down to this. It's not Predators specific shades. What it is for me is that the team that usually wins the offseason typically has an underwhelming year. It's true.
New
In
York
terms of
Jets.
free agents, it happens in all sports, right? The New York Jets, remember the Devils, they won the offseason a couple of years ago and they weren't as far ahead as some people thought. And the same thing is happening with the Predators here. I think when you sign two guys to pretty long contracts, and again, Jonathan Marchessault, great fit in Vegas. Steven Stamkos, an outstanding fit in Tampa Bay, one of the best, players, that have, called Tampa Bay home, ever in their history. And it just hasn't worked out here in Nashville. Brady Shea, same thing, long-term deal. He's really struggled on the back end. The goaltending, Scott Wedgwood coming in to be a backup. Can't put UC Saros in every night, right? So I think Barry Trotz has the right vision for where this team is headed. But, he seems like a no-nonsense type of GM, right? He went on the radio, 102.5 the game in Nashville, and flat out said if the team doesn't turn it around, we maybe have to expedite the rebuild process. And that's coming after signing Shea,
Yeah.
Marchessault, and Stamkos. So got to figure out what direction they're going to go in. They let Dante Fabro go, which was a little bit of a surprise for me. Again, a defenseman who was struggling, but that was a player that they had high hopes for, and the rest of the league
He
really
went
looked
on to get claimed
top
also.
defenseman. He went on to get claimed, but and again, no surprise there. But they needed a little bit of a switch up. So I hope the Preds are able to turn it around. But again, this start of the season has left a lot wanting for Predators fans. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's probably been more surprising than anything. Probably the two biggest surprises so far this season are the two teams we talked about so far.
Right. Yep. 100%.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of now I'm extremely interested to see where that team's going to go because if they do keep losing, I'm going to be interested to see what moves they make at the deadline rebuild wise. But if they start winning a little bit, are they going to turn into buyers at the deadline or are they kind of just going to stand pat and I don't know.
I respect Barry Trotz for coming on the radio and saying that. I do. I do. That's the right mindset that you have to have as a GM. But I just cannot see with the offseason that they had this summer, them going into a rebuild. I just don't see it.
No.
I just don't see it.
I mean,
Maybe a retool, right? Maybe a figure it out. Maybe let's subtract a few guys, add a few guys, get a little bit younger, focus on team speed, physicality, whatnot. But I don't see a full rebuild. Not one bit. I'd be
retool
stunned.
on the fly. What is this, the 2017, 2018 Rangers?
Seriously, and you just re-signed UC Saros to a long-term extension, right?
And they traded Askarov.
And they traded Askarov. So if you're going to go into a rebuild, wouldn't you want your top prospect goaltender? But again, Saros is going to be elite for a long time
Yeah.
throughout the duration of that contract, in my opinion. So I think he's the least of their problems. But again, they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. Let's leave it there.
Yeah, got to
Start to
figure
the
it out.
year.
All right. Yeah, that
But again,
shocking.
they got a great head coach in Andrew Brunette, and they got an even better GM in Barry Trotz. So the leadership is there. So
Yeah, and Trotz is known for making good trades so far.
he is.
I mean, look at the Tanner Jeannot trade. Case in point.
That was a good one.
That one of the most lopsided trades of all time.
Tampa definitely overpaid there. So
Oh yeah, 100%. Now, to switch up to a third team, the Washington Capitals are kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum of the Predators right now because the Predators were a team that everyone was thinking was, on the ascend, on the way up, and they start off horribly. The Capitals, for the last several years, have kind of been a team on the decline, and they've seen a mini resurgence so far this season. And I don't think I gave them enough credit during the offseason for how many changes they actually made that ended up being good. Because you know how like when you're having a discussion or a conversation with somebody and they're bringing up a lot of good points about whatever topic you're discussing, and then they say that one or bring up that like one little thing that kind of tanks their entire argument. That's kind of where I was with the Capitals as soon as they added Pierre-Luc Dubois. I'll be completely honest there. But hey, Ovi's back. Dylan Strome is apparently Nick Backstrom 2.0. Logan Thompson's holding it down in net. They got younger, quicker. I mean, it's pretty cool to see so far, not gonna lie.
it's been a nice start to the season. And again, I look at goaltending first and foremost, right? Logan Thompson comes over from the Vegas Golden Knights. Great trade. Awesome. Terrific transaction to be able to get a goaltender the caliber of Logan Thompson. Then you have Charlie Lindgren, right, who's backing him up, who had a terrific year last year. So he's able to build upon his best season in the NHL. So you have two goaltenders that gives you a chance to win each and every single night. In terms of Alexander Ovechkin, I think when you have top players like Ovi and Crosby, the team goes as the player goes. And Alexander Ovechkin is having a red hot start to the season, and it's no surprise that the Capitals are doing the same on the team side. Like you said, Dylan Strome, he's being that facilitator to Ovechkin in the same way that Nicholas Backstrom was all those years ago. And again, this is a team without Backstrom. This is a team without TJ Oshie. This is a team that really got stripped down in a lot of ways in terms of the forward group, and they are still right there at the beginning of the season. So for me, I'll call it a hot start for now. But again, it's a really good story despite them being in the division of my favorite team. And Alexander Ovechkin, he's going to make it close. If he continues this way throughout the season, he's going to make it close of reaching that 895 mark to break Wayne Gretzky's goal record. So
I
a
mean,
lot of storylines with the Capitals, and again, happy for a fan base that has had, like you said, a descending last few years from where they were.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm predicting right now Ovi's going to break the record this season.
I think it's going to be super close. I'll put it like that. I
Yeah.
don't want to put a prediction on it yet, but I think it's going to be.
I don't know. I like to see a record like that broken because it's that when has that record stood since 90 like six?
Yeah. I got a question for you.
Hit
A
me.
friend of mine brought this up to me.
I love
So,
how as you have a
Alexander,
question for me, the camera goes out of focus.
of course.
It never fails.
Um, Alexander Ovechkin breaks the goal record this season, right? He
Yeah.
takes his stick and he signs it, and Wayne Gretzky signs it as well, and it goes for auction. How much do you think it would go for? Let's just throw the puck in there too. Why not?
Oh, damn. That uh, okay, well, first and foremost, a hockey stick signed by Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky. That in itself is probably going to be a couple thousand. Game used stick price automatically goes up. The certified stick that breaks the all-time record, that is almost instantly adding several hundred thousand, probably. So close
Okay,
to a million, I would say.
close to $1 million item. Interesting. I said around 2 million. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was trying to lowball it just because yeah, because I would easily say like I would pay $5 million for that stick.
if I had it. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
but
yeah, if I had
yeah,
5 million to just waste. Yeah.
yeah.
Sadly, I don't.
Living in a world of hypotheticals right now. But yeah, no, the Capitals, great start. I have a chance to win every night with their goaltending. Offense is there. Defense has been strong. And again, you look at their farm system, the Hershey Bears, and even the South Carolina Stingrays. I'll give the ECHL a little bit of a shout out. They got depth all the way throughout the organization. So, they might be in a little bit of a retool. They may not be a Stanley Cup contender right now, but they have a few years here to build around Ovechkin and make something happen. And think if they can carry this momentum, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. They did last year. They got to the playoffs.
They did, which surprised I think both of us.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but now the question is like if they would have started this retool sooner, how much further along in the process do you think they would be? Because they kind of tried to hold on to that 2018 team for probably too many years.
They did. They did. I don't know how much farther along they would be. I think a lot of the draft prospects I think they got in later rounds
Hmm.
of the NHL draft. But again, the drafts have been top heavy in the last few years. So if the Capitals had entered into a rebuild a little bit earlier and got themselves in prime draft position, perhaps they could have added some more top end talent to go along with the players that they have now. But remember, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Dylan Strome, when they were signed, they were commodities that really weren't wanted throughout the NHL, especially Pierre-Luc Dubois with the way, his locker room issues, the things that have made waves, the situations that we've talked about on this show. Dylan Strome, again, kind of left for naught once he hit unrestricted free agency, and the Capitals just took a bargain on him, picked him up, and look what he's done. So again, kudos to the GM, kudos to the ownership, to the management, because that's what makes it happen at the end of the day. And again, the big key for me is that they've got more coming throughout their farm. So I
Yeah,
really like what the Capitals are doing. Good
yeah,
start for them.
absolutely. I was actually on team Dylan Strome going to the Capitals. I felt like I was one of the few people saying I think this is an underrated good move.
Mm.
And it's turned out to be because one thing I forgot to mention is he has assisted on Alex Ovechkin's first 10 goals of the season.
Has he really? Wow,
One short of Nicholas Backstrom's record.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is a legitimate stat. Look it up.
Good hockey lineage. Dylan, Ryan.
Yeah, at least Dylan can hit an empty net. I had to. I had to. I'm sorry. Sorry.
See how many players score in that same situation. I was
Speaking of players scoring, We had a huge milestone hit last night. Connor McDavid, 1,000 points. Third fastest player ever, if I read the stat correctly. You want to know who numbers 1 and 2 were?
Ooh, hit me.
Wayne Gretzky, twice. Same player, did it faster twice, which is, if that doesn't prove that Gretzky was just on another level from everybody else, I don't know what is. Like, my argument is falling on deaf ears at that point.
Congratulations to Connor McDavid on that milestone. I mean, he is generational. We've known this for years. He's the best skater in the league. He's the best player in the league right now, I think, all around. And again, an amazing accomplishment, only beaten, like you said, by the great one, Wayne Gretzky. And if you saw his assist last night in overtime, please go check it out after we are done recording this morning. It was a dazzling dish. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Went up against two Predators, spun them to his back, and a no-look feed to the back door. Darnell Nurse upstairs over the glove of Wedgwood and into the net and game over. What else can you say about Connor McDavid? He's only going to go up from here. Just hope he can stay healthy. And again, his team is close. They came close last year. So need to keep building. But everybody looks like they're firing on all cylinders right now. Himself, Draisaitl, and Nurse. So
Yeah, and McDavid's, like, his first couple games this season, like, he was frankly awful.
struggled. But again, like top players are going to find it, right? I'll go back to the conversation about Alexander Ovechkin. There was a time last year where we were talking about it, right? When he was really struggling. Is Alexander Ovechkin not done, but is he starting to regress? Are we seeing the first signs of regression? And I said, no. Goal scorers, the ability to score never leaves them. And Alexander Ovechkin, we've seen for, 15 plus years how talented he is and how consistent of a goal scorer he is season after season after season. So I said, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to pick it right back up. And this season, he looks like the guy he was 2 years ago
Yep.
before he had that down year. So the same thing with McDavid, even though it's 2 games, that he's still going to end up with well over 100 points. He was going to reach that milestone, and he's going to lead the Oilers, hopefully to another playoff run here. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely insane. Just think about, we literally could be witnessing a top 5 all-time NHL career,
I think we are.
which is just
I think he's right,
insane to actually think about.
right up there with Gretzky Lemieux. It's right
Oh
up
yeah.
there.
Yeah, right up. Yeah, especially Crosby too. As much
Crosby.
as I hate to say that, but it's like, I have to give credit where it's due.
Yeah, give him credit, 100%.
Fucking absolutely wild. And how many points is he at right now?
With Crosby?
No, McDavid so far this season. What does he have? Like 11 now?
I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna let's try and do an on the fly prediction, not to rip off NHL Network. How many points do you think he finishes with this season?
I got to see where he's at right now.
Yeah. All right. Because how many did he finish with last season? Did he hit 160 last season?
Definitely over 150. He has 19 points in 14 games this year. He finished with 132 last year.
Oh shit, I was way off.
Season so 19 points in 14 games. I think he'll finish with 135 plus points.
I'll go 128.
128.
Yeah. Have a feeling those couple games at the start of the season is going to prevent him from breaking last season's record.
Yeah, be interesting to look at.
And the thing that's making me even sadder, I am literally older than Connor McDavid by about 2 months. So, yeah, I'm going to go cry now.
Don't go cry.
This guy has 1,000 NHL points. I have nothing. Yeah. So anyway, congrats.
You have a Dunkin' cold brew.
I do. I do. That makes, bro, literally, that commercial like from a couple years back, man, the greatest part of my day is me going to Dunkin'. And then there's another person, man, that's sad. And then he just grabs his friend's drink and just throws it at the hood of the person's car. That's-
Oh, that's funny.
I've watched that commercial back probably like 50 times. I can't get enough of it.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and Connor McDavid is a very good hockey player. So,
Yes, elite in every single way. So,
yeah, and that's still somehow underselling it. It's just absolutely wild.
yep.
Okay, now we turn to our ever almighty New York Rangers. And before we bring up what's been happening with the NHL team, there's two things that we really should mention. Uh, both of them are kind of negative. One is, well, actually, no, both of them are negative. The other one, or one of the two, I should say, is really bad. And that is Ben Harper and his goalie run incident, which, what the hell was he thinking? I just saw the clip of this. He skates right into the goalie, not paying attention to the play whatsoever. Looked like he was trying to take the guy out. It's like, what the hell is going through his head there?
I didn't see the play. What happened? Ben Harper, isn't he in Hartford, right?
Yeah, he ran a goalie during one of Hartford's games and could not find the context behind the hit. It seemed like it was an on the spot, out of nowhere thing. It's like there's no room for that I don't want him back on the NHL team on the sole basis of this. I don't want assholes like this on my team.
I would have to take a look at the hit. Um, yeah, I would have to take a look at it, but never a
So
good thing to run a goaltender. So,
I will
hey,
give you time to look at the hit or look it up right now, but in the meantime, I feel like this is also going to get lumped together with this. So speaking of Hartford, Matt Rempe got demoted to, I don't think, anyone's shock about a week or so ago, probably a couple weeks at this point. My timelines lately have been horrible. And apparently it's not going well.
yeah,
Yeah, for
taking a look
those
at the
yeah,
play
for
right
those who
now.
hear that in the background, that's Liam finding the clip of Ben Harper's goalie run incident. So don't be alarmed. We're not getting the
I,
stream did not get rated or hacked.
yeah, that's
Live reaction, folks.
yeah, there's not a lot of defending that, to be honest.
Yeah, your face says a lot.
I mean, you don't really see defensemen, right, driving the net right there like that and wanting to screen the goalie. I mean, albeit Harper is a bigger player. Um, yeah, there was certainly intent there.
No, absolutely.
There's no doubt. I mean, the team down 5-1. I mean, yeah, can't do that. Not a hockey play. So disappointing. Obviously we don't know the specifics of the situation, but uh yeah, disappointing series of events, I'd say. I've
Yeah,
always liked
it's
Harper as a player. So, you know, I would need more context to the situation, but from how it looks on video, that's not good.
yeah, it's funny how you can like somebody as a player until something like that happens, and you're just like, I don't want this guy back on my team.
Yeah. Well, in terms of who are you talking about? Rempe?
Yes.
He's back up now, or was he back down? I know he went back up. He went down, then he got called back up.
Yeah, I feel like that was one of those he got sent down for somebody to get sent up, and then they called him back up the next day or something, and then he got sent right back down, which I mean, somebody can fact check me on this because I've made this point notable times throughout the year so far. I have barely been home to watch the games, and keeping up has been pretty hard. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, I just saw a stat line like a couple days ago. He was, I think, pointless with like a -6 in a couple games. And it's just like, dude, they're counting on you to like get your game together and be a staple on that fourth line in the coming years. And It's looking worse and worse as time passes for that to happen.
I'd like to see him learn from Adam Edstrom a little bit. Edstrom, a player similar stature. I think maybe Rempe can take some notes on the way that he plays the game and, kind of try to copy it, right? I just think what he's trying to do on the ice, what he's trying to be, that enforcer, that grinder type figure in terms of the forward group. Um, Maybe a little ahead of where his skill set is right now. Maybe he just needs
Hmm.
to simplify things and again, just learn the basics first. And then when it's time to fight, fight. And when it's time to throw big hits. But that doesn't have to be every single shift. And I think that's on the Rangers development team down in Hartford and up in the NHL. So again, we'll see how it develops. But for me, I believe in Rempe. I know what type of player he is. We saw him when he first came up and how dynamic he could be, even in a fourth line role. And I want to see him on that fourth line come playoff time alongside Edstrom and Carrick. I think that would be a great line to go out with. As long as Rempe is just playing the right way defensively. And again, he hasn't shown the ability to do that consistently, especially down at the AHL level. I mean, a -6 pointless in those games. It's not what you want to see out of a player that needs development.
Yeah, but hey, let's hope he learns. And yeah, Edstrom has actually been a welcome addition to the team. So,
Yes, yes, he
and
has.
also, I have to stick up for Brendan right here. How dare you disappoint Jimmy Duncan? Oh, he
Yeah.
scored. So, for those of you, I maybe told the story before. I don't remember, but I'll say it again anyway. Me and Brendan call Jimmy VC Jimmy Duncan because Brendan's older brother ran into Jimmy VC in the city once, and what did he have with him? Duncan. So he forever became immortalized as Jimmy Duncan to us.
I love it.
It's so good.
Jimmy
Not
Duncan
not
VC.
sponsored. Not
Not,
sponsored.
I believe Duncan does sponsor the Rangers, though. I know they did.
I know at one point they did.
See if they still do.
Actually, yeah.
Maybe VC will switch to Starbucks. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna disown him if he does that.
Yeah. For me, Shade's other notes on the Rangers. I mean, Shesterkin, I mean, it's just been terrific, you know.
Yeah, I
So,
feel like he's had a couple games where I'm just like, okay, but then again, the team in front of him looked god awful. So,
right, right.
no, still, I have another running joke with another friend. Every time he either makes a big save or lets in like a softish type of goal, we just text a number to each other based off of the 11.5 that was reported to be his contract extension. If he lets in a goal, we'll just send a depending on how bad the goal is. If it was like a really tough stop, we'll be like 11-3. And if it was a really bad one, 10-5. We do this with like every goal now. It's become one of my favorite things to do during a game.
Oh man, that's funny. Always good when you can find
Oh, it's great.
some fun in it. Right.
It's great, especially in games we're just playing absolutely awful. We just look forward to that text.
When's it coming? When's it coming?
Oh, I can't wait. But speaking of playing really good, dude, Jonathan Quick again. This guy's like found the fountain of youth.
Yeah, he has. Second season now. And again,
Yeah.
I didn't really think he would be able to be necessarily better than where he was last year, but here we go. Rangers again with a chance to win every night. And like I talked about in that one sample size game against the Winnipeg Jets, the Rangers have had a lot of defensive breakdowns to begin the season. And to win games, you need your goaltender every single night to be able to bail you out. And Jonathan Quick has been able to do that. I mean, look back at that game against the Red Wings. I don't know if you're able to watch that one, but he was absolutely terrific. And I don't think the Rangers win that game if, I mean, maybe they do win that game if Shesterkin is in net. But again, Jonathan Quick, I think being of ample rest. And again, like you said, finding that fountain of youth. He's been a major plus for this Ranger team. And the reason why they've been able to gain points in the standings at a good rate despite not playing their best hockey.
Yeah, I remember I was texting Brendan about that. He's just like, that score is very misleading. We did not play that well.
100%.
And I'm
100%.
just like, that's a little concerning because I feel like I've heard that one too many times already this season. But
Right.
don't worry, we'll get back into that in a minute. But yeah, goaltending still top notch. Benoit Allaire, this guy basically has a job for life.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's yeah, but yeah. I love how this has literally been the one constant we've had over the last 20 years. As soon as Lundqvist came in, we've just had really, really good goaltending.
Yep. It's been a privilege.
I'm trying to think, what was a year we had an underwhelming backup?
Can't really think of one, to be honest. Maybe
Even the year
Pavlik.
with Andres Pavlich, I
Yeah,
mean,
when
even he had a decent year for as a backup that year
yeah, he
for a
did.
team that was in transition.
I don't think I can think of one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know it's hard, right? So going from, two guys that are playing great, we have to go to probably the player that is having the worst season imaginable. And I didn't think I'd be saying that after last season, but Mika Zibanejad's downfall needs to be studied because he went from a guy that was still an ascending player when we got him 7 years ago at this point. It's been 7 years, Jesus Christ. And all of a sudden, he just became a guy that is practically useless at even strength and hasn't looked good exactly on the power play lately either.
Yeah, he didn't look great last year. Of course, he struggled in the playoff in all three zones. Of course, this is a player that we've seen put up 41 goals in a season. So we know that it's there. We know that he has that finishing ability. We know that he does work well with Chris Kreider, believe it or not. But again, last year and the starts of this year have just been very underwhelming. I think Mika's been better defensively, but again, we're not paying him $8.5 million for what he can do defensively.
Yeah.
Of course, having him on the PK and having him, on the defensive side of the puck when you're at even strength, that's a good thing. But if you're not producing anything while playing on the first line consistently, and you're relied upon by the team, by the coaching staff, by the management, by the fan base, as one of the team's top players and point producers, and you're not coming away and doing that, it's disappointing. He scored a goal in the last game, so you never know. Maybe one goal can jumpstart a player. But from what I've seen over a pretty significant stretch of time now,
Yeah.
uh, has led to a player descending.
Yeah. Again, you're
And
very
I
good
love
at
Mika.
putting things nicely.
Thank you, but I love Mika. I do. Like when he's on, he's on. That 5 goal game will forever live in my memory as one of the greatest things I can look back at as a hockey fan. But again, that was when was that? 3, 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
So maybe 5 years ago. So he's far from the player that he was. And I hope that this just isn't age rearing its ugly head. I hope so. Some people get better with age, some people fall off. But again, I'll say what I've said about Ovechkin, what I said about McDavid earlier in the episode. Players just don't lose their ability. If they have it once, they'll be able to do it again. And I feel the same way for Mika.
Part of
Putting
me doesn't feel
putting in
that same way because he's 8 years younger than Ovechkin. Now, obviously, we're going from a generational talent in Ovechkin to Zibanejad,
How old is Mika?
31.
Okay.
He's been on the downtrend for at least 2 seasons now. This is this season at least the third, if not the fourth, because he was red hot going into the COVID stoppage, and then since then it has been all downhill.
For
And
sure.
that was 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
So that's extremely concerning. And Drury gave him a contract extension until 2030, which is scary. But yeah, he's 31. His birthday's in April. So he'll be 32 come the playoffs this year.
He hasn't had an awful start to the year, 12 points in 15 games.
I mean, on
But
paper,
the
that's
three,
not
the three,
awful, but the
the
more
three
you
goals
watch him play, it's scary.
put up 26, 46, and 72 in 81 games last year.
He had
And
72 points last year.
well, the year before that, 22, 23, 91 points in 82 games. That's good. That's where we want Mika at. 81 the previous year, 50 the season
Well, I
before.
mean, a lot of that was Kreider's 50 goal season, that 91 points.
Yeah, but 52, 39 goals that year.
Didn't feel like he had 39 2 years ago.
And then he had 41 before COVID, like you said, in 2019-20.
Yeah. That
So
was him playing his best hockey by far that season. He was just red hot.
yeah, but a lot of that, like you said, he had 52 assists that year in 22-23. Like you said, Kreider's 50 goals
Yeah.
had a lot to do with that. So
Yeah, but seriously, like I said, his downfall needs to be studied because you just watch him play at even strength. Honestly, it's him and Kreider, if I'm being honest. Like their play at even strength has just deteriorated, and they're practically unusable as a first line at even strength.
yeah, there's going to become a point, and I don't know if it will be this year or the year after, or maybe even the year after that, where Alexi Lafreniere forces his way onto the first line. I think he's already forced his way onto the first power play unit. Like it's only a matter of time before that happens.
Honestly,
So
I would swap him and Zibanejad. Obviously, move the players around on the actual unit itself upon doing that because you're not
you
going to
want
have
Lafreniere?
Lafreniere and Zibanejad's spot.
Yeah, you don't want Lafreniere in the middle.
No,
You
no,
know,
you seriously put Panarin where Zibanejad is. Put Laugh
Panarin in
on
the
the other
middle.
side. Have Fox at the point being, the head defenseman, offensive defenseman, guard, leading the unit in that aspect. Kreider in the front of the net because as much as I hate the guy, he's good at deflecting pucks in front of the net. And then we got the fifth guy. So
We'll see. Hope Mika
it,
can get himself out of this funk for sure.
I hope so. But like you also said, it's been a pretty sizable period of time now to the point where it's legitimately concerning.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely
And I've been saying this for a while now.
there's some evidence to back up the claim.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but we got to point it out.
Yeah,
We have to. Now, speaking of his struggles, they have tried to shuffle the lines around the last couple games to try and get not only him going, but Trocheck going as well, because he's had a underwhelming start to the season thus far with his quality of play, especially compared to last year. But they finally were starting to drop Zibanejad's minutes, and honestly, Kreider's too because they needed to get something to spark. So now they've been going with Panarin, Zibanejad, and I believe Lafreniere, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but part of me also didn't want that to happen because why break up your best line to try and get other players going and it hasn't really been working?
Right.
Yeah, it's a very touchy situation right now.
Agreed. And again, Trocheck, another one of those guys who really does have to turn it on. And again, he did it last year, so we know what type of player that he is. But let's just not hope it's one and done. So some guys do go through that. So
Yeah, and since we brought up those two lines, the third line is, I mean, I've actually liked the third line. It's been Cooley, Chytil, and Kako. Now, obviously, Kako, we got the really good defensively, can't finish off an offensive chance to save his life. I kind of just accepted that's who he is at this point. But that line has been pretty good. And up until last game, because we don't know if he's day to day now, so we don't know if he's going to miss a game or make it back for the next game. But him and Miller, collide. Chytil goes down. We're all thinking, here we go again with Chytil's injury, like freak injury bug. And I know it's been like a freak thing these last couple of years, but this guy cannot stay healthy. It's scary.
yeah, you can't blame him for this one though.
You cannot.
Yeah, colliding with his own teammate. Just really want to touch on what you said before, though, Shades, about the Cooley Heedle Kako line. Of course, we hope that Heedle is healthy, so we'll be able to see more of that line. But man, Kako just thrives, alongside whether it's Lafreniere and Heedle or Cooley and Heedle. He really drives that line. So even though he might be not be producing the points, I think he's had a decent start, at least statistically this year. He is really helping this line to be not only one of the best lines on the team, but one of the best lines in the NHL, especially in terms of third lines.
Oh,
So, and
yeah.
again, Chytil wins that ability, that skill, ability to win faceoffs. Kako, of course, the size, the ability to protect the puck, and then Cooley, that physicality and not being able to get to the tough areas, the garbage areas, and it's going to result in good things in the offensive zone, and that's what we've seen. So I think there could be an argument that that's been the Rangers' best line this season. So
Speaking of making an argument, Heedle has arguably been the best center so far this season for us.
I think, yeah, obviously got to make sure that he's healthy, but if Mika continues to struggle, there might need to be a conversation of Heedle moving up to line one, maybe playing with Panarin and Lafreniere, see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's can't be out of the question
You
with
got
the
to
way
move
they're
Zibanejad,
playing.
you got to move Zibanejad to the wing. You move Zibanejad to the wing to play with Trocheck and Kreider. Could work.
Maybe.
That would be a drastic change, something that we haven't seen out of the Rangers in forever. Seems like forever, but kind of just seems like shades. And you let me know what you think. That's where this forward group is at right now. Drastic needs.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling that they're not gonna resort to that because, goaltending's kind of holding them up yet again. But hey, man, it's we might get to the point where that might be necessary.
Yeah. And I hope Peter Laviolette's willing to go there, because individually these guys have been good, right? You look at Panarin, good season. Lafreniere, good season. Chytil, Kako, Cooley, all good seasons. Kreider, you know, Kreider's Kreider, right?
Kreider is
Zibanejad,
Kreider. Yeah.
you know. But again, a lot of these guys individually have had good years. You just got to mix up the lines in the right way so they could be most effective. Um, but what we've seen recently, it's left some more to be wanted, no doubt.
Yeah, speaking of more to be wanted, we're gonna go from the forward group to the defense right now. And it has not been pretty. It has not been pretty. I
You got
mean,
any classic shades Truber rant?
surprisingly, no, because I was going to say this. Truba has arguably been the third least problem on the defense.
Okay.
Because, I mean, look at Keandre Miller and Ryan Lindgren specifically. Also, Sam Rosen said Ryan Lindbergh the other night. I was hysterically laughing. I and also Riley Miller. Thank you, Sam Rosen, for giving me so many things to laugh about. I am going to be so, so sad at the end of this season when you retire. I absolutely love this man. And he was also apparently at the US Open one day, and I didn't get a chance to go and say hi to him. I was kind of
Oh,
upset when I found that out. But yeah, those have like those two, Miller and Lindgren, or Riley Miller and Ryan Lindbergh, as Sam Rosen says. I'm telling you, I can't get enough of this. I don't want him to retire, but they have been arguably the two biggest problems on defense, and that's saying a lot. Miller
yeah,
constantly takes himself out of position, leaves a guy wide open in front of the net, and I don't know what's up with Lindgren, but his quality of play has dropped as well.
yeah. Lindgren's struggled, and that could be a result of the multitude of injuries that he's gotten along the way, especially last season too. And yeah, in terms of Keandre Miller, I mean, you've been critical of Keandre going back to last year. For me, again, I know I'm coming with all the drastic takes here, but I look at Keandre Miller like Brett Burns looked in San Jose. And San Jose had to make a decision to move this guy up into the lineup, not only to help the offense, but to help round out his game so that when he could come back to defense, he could, have a little bit of a better understanding on how to play, the best in all three zones. Maybe it's time to move Keandre Miller up. I mean, his defenses has struggled. Great kid, terrific size, has a lot of offensive skill, but caught out of position way too much. And I think what we saw with Heedle, with the two of them colliding in last night's game, I think that's a clear-cut example of that. And then not only are you affecting the team on the ice, you're also affecting individual players' ability to stay healthy, in Heedle. So again, great kid, great player. And I hope he figures it out. But maybe a move up might not be a bad take.
Yeah, I mean, we've brought it up, both of us, at various points throughout the episode. A drastic change might be needed, and that's one that's got to be looked at this point. Because, I mean, him
Because
on defense has just been getting progressively worse since the start of last season.
if you're going to win the Stanley Cup, you can't have three out of your six starting defensemen, you know, be seriously struggling the way, we've seen out of Truba, uh, Lindgren, and Keandre Miller. So
Yeah, no, it's gotten pretty bad at this point because Fox and Schneider have been our top two defensemen.
Schneider's been very good. And
Schneider, yeah,
Fox, again, you got to talk about how good your defensive mate is when you're referring to Fox, right? Playing with Lindgren. So we'll see.
yeah. Mancini was also sent down. I thought he was one of the few bright spots, so I don't 100% understand that one. But
Mancini was good in training camp. Again, a few defensive lapses to start the regular season, but he's definitely got an offensive touch to his game. He'll be back up, I hope.
yeah, I hope so too.
Chad Ruhwedel called up.
Yeah, that still confused as to why they made that trade last season, but
Well, they signed him back. He's a good defensive shutdown guy. Maybe he was playing well in Hartford. I have not been keeping up, but you know,
eh,
it's Mancini some more development, I suppose.
I guess so. I was about to ask you if they had the contract slide thing, but then I just remembered Mancini's like 23, so he's well past that.
Yeah, Mancini's yeah, 23, like you said.
Yeah, it's pretty scary where where this team is at because this is a team that's supposed to be on the rise, and it just seems like they can't get out of their own way and they're taking steps backward.
Yes, I agree, but this is also the regular season. There's going to be ebbs and flows.
Yeah,
This is not the team that I think neither you nor I expect to see come April once the playoffs start. So
well, we'll see because I mean, we do have a pretty sizable length of time to go off of here.
we do.
Yeah, especially with how certain players have been playing year in and year out, especially in the playoffs the last couple seasons. So, I mean, the red flags are there.
Yeah, they are.
All right, well, I got nothing else. So,
I got nothing else either.
I would go on a rant about the New York Jets, but I mean, that's pretty, it's not even worth it at this
We'll
point.
start a football podcast, but next season. Next season. It's not worth it this season.
I mean, I'd be down if you are.
I would. Why not?
It gives me another outlet.
I
Yeah.
got to think of a name.
Yeah, that is. Hey, Pucks and
Downward.
Brews, that
How about
was
how
two
about
years in the making.
downward spiral, a New York Jets podcast.
That's pretty accurate.
That's being a Jets fan, isn't it?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, especially when you're watching the games, just completely down, and then like Wednesday, Thursday comes, and then you kind of get optimistic. Oh, they might be able to win this week, and then 5 minutes into the game,
By the fourth quarter, you don't even want to watch anymore.
yeah, literally. Kind of me with watching the Sabres game the other night. As soon as Sabres made it 4-0, I'm like, fuck this. I'm putting Thursday night football on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
And
game
that
got
was the right decision because that ended up being a really good game.
I stayed and watched the Rangers. They got crushed.
Yeah, that was no bueno.
No, no. One of their worst games in a couple of years. So
I still, to this day, think that I was at one of their all-time worst games, game three against Montreal in 2017.
hmm.
I still, to this day, think that was arguably a top five game or top five worst game they've played since the start of the 2011-12 season when I started watching hockey. So
And then didn't they win both games in Montreal too to start the series?
they
I
they
know they
might
won
have.
one. I know they won
All I
one.
know is me and my friend went to game three. We wanted to go to game four instead, but something was up and we like some schedule conflict, and we both were just like, well, we want to go to at least one of these games. And we ended up going to game three. Oh boy, did we regret that.
Yeah, regretted the decision.
We regretted going to that game so much because I swear to you, there was a literal like 40-second span where that team showed up.
Hmm.
They scored a goal to make it 3-1. They had a chance almost immediately after. That was it. That was it. The rest of that game was just atrocious to sit through. Like that
First
was
off,
worse. That was worse than Game 7 against Tampa, arguably.
Game 7 against Tampa was just disappointing.
Yeah, that's probably top five up there too.
Yeah.
I mean, but I hold the Montreal game in on another level because I was actually there and wasted $214 on that game. Now $214 will barely get you in the building for most games, which is sad to think about.
Standing room only, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, where do you actually stand? Like on the bridge?
I
I
never
don't
saw
I
them.
yeah, because I don't know. I refuse to buy a standing room only ticket because I'm just like, if I'm gonna go and literally stand there the whole time, I will save my money and sit on my couch the whole time.
That's the point. Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, baseball games are a little different because standing room only tickets are significantly cheaper. Not that I'm a baseball fan, but I'm just saying it makes more sense most of the time.
Mhm. We're hockey fans.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to stand for 3 hours.
Yeah. Although when I did go to the playoff game in Carolina, I did stand the entire game, but that was
Oh,
because I was at the last row of the
okay,
building.
yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I just, you know, I don't know, found it kind of cool. That was
Funny
Panarin
enough,
winner, tip between the legs. Beauty.
yeah. Funny enough, I usually stand for most of the Jets games because my buddies have, when I go with them, they have the last row in one, I forget the section, but like literally the top of the last row in one of the 100 sections. And every third down, you hear the horn, it's and everybody just stands up. And every single time, we're just like, oh, God fucking damn it. And we stand up just for them, to give up a first down. And we're just like, why do we keep standing up for this shit?
Oh man, that's
Funny
funny.
enough, I ran into one of my coworkers at Citi Field, and even he just stopped standing after a certain point because he's just like, I'm not getting up every fucking third down.
Don't blame him.
Yeah, so being a New York sports fan is rough right now.
It is. It is all across the board.
It's rough. It's rough. But yeah, I mean, I really got nothing else at this point.
Nothing else for me either. Call it a show.
I will say I did have some pretty good tacos last night at the restaurant I went out to.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, those were delicious, and the wings that we ordered were also really good too. So had a pretty nice night out with some coworkers.
Nice. That's good. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'm here in Jacksonville, ready to call a hockey game tonight. Gladiators against the Icemen. That'll be fun. So,
nice. I find it funny how a team named the Icemen is playing a hockey game in Jacksonville, Florida. That is pretty funny when you think about it.
it is. They're a great organization, So, we're hoping the Gladiators can grab a win tonight. That'll be nice. So,
Well, for your sake, I hope so.
yeah, absolutely. Be good to call some goals. If we can get some goals tonight. Be good.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, everybody, this has been Pucks and Brews. I have been your host, Michael Shades Sparacino, as always, alongside Liam, the Shellmaster Godimer. Why do you got to do this, phone? This has been episode 66, and I just hope the Rangers just make some adjustments. That's really all I could hope for at this point.
I hope they get better until the next time we record.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just, little adjustments. There's not going to be any drastic changes because, it's mid-November, November 15th to be specific at the time we're recording this. But you know, baby steps,
Let's keep
But
climbing the ladder.
yeah, but please do both of us a favor. Hit like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. That helps us a lot. If you want, follow us on the rest of our socials in the description. We're not forcing you. Just it would be if you want. I don't. If you want to follow my, personal social media, I mean, go for it. I don't post anything that interesting, but yeah, we'll be back hopefully next week because there'll probably be more stuff to talk about around the league, hopefully. But In the meantime, enjoy. Hope you enjoyed a drink of choice while watching/listening to this episode. And I'm gonna have to sit through another probably awful Jets game this weekend. God, being a New York sports fan right now sucks. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Later.